This is the QTV Nightly News. I'm Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. And a reminder that you can also join us on Q Radio 103.3 FM. Here are the headlines. On Friday, Binta Job, the special envoy of the chairperson of the African Union Commission on Women, Peace and Security, praised the Gambia's commitment to global gender equality, peace and security after being received by President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul. Over 4,900 migrants were intercepted by the Gambia Immigration Department since the start of the year following an unprecedented crackdown. The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Gambia's Commissioner of Media Advocacy, Usman Sediba, in an exclusive interview with QTV disclosed that 36 Gambians and 2 Senegalese were arrested with drugs within the last 2 weeks. Following the distribution of combined harvesters of rice farmers under the Ministry of Agriculture and World Bank-funded Giraffe Project, officials visited the Central River region for 2 days to assess the equipment's impact on local farming activities. In international news, speakers of parliament from across the world, including the Deputy Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, CDSK Njai, gathered in Switzerland from July 29 to 31st for the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Do stay. Thank you for tuning in. Now on Friday, Binta Job, the special envoy of the chairperson of the African Union Commission on Women, Peace and Security, praised the Gambia's commitment to global gender equality, peace and security after being received by President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul.
For many years, Africa has strived to elevate women's leadership and empowerment through several initiatives, including the African Women Leaders Network, AWLIN, a platform designed to enhance women's roles in shaping the continent's future in line with the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the UN's 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. During her visit, AU Special Envoy Benita Juve was accompanied by members of the Gambia's national chapter of the Women's Leaders Network, which was launched in May 2023, making it the network's 33rd chapter. Madam Juve applauded President Barrow for elevating AWLIN to a national priority and for his government's continued efforts to protect the rights of Gambian women and contribute to global progress on gender equality.
We came together with the national chapter and congratulating him to host the issue of peace, security and stability, but in the meantime putting in his own agenda the gender equality agenda, the women's empowerment agenda, not just in the political spheres, which is great, but also in the economic spheres as well. So we had a great conversation on that. Beyond the Sahel, in Africa.
Despite progress, African women leaders still face significant challenges, including entrenched gender bias, restrictive cultural norms, limited access to resources, and a lack of mentorship and networking opportunities. Established in 2017, the African Women Leaders Network initiative is supported by the AU Special Envoy's Office and UN Women. Ms. Juve also highlighted AWLIN's recent convention aimed at combating violence against women, noting that the Gambia was the first country to sign the initiative.
We bring the voice of African women. Recently, we just pushed AWLIN a convention to fight against violence against women at the AU level. And you know, who was the first to sign in February to make sure that the convention exists was Gambia. So Gambia is committed to gender equality globally at international level.
The Gambian government has taken concrete steps to promote gender equality through national policies. One key example is the National Gender Policy 2025-2034, which outlines strategies to empower women and girls as essential agents of sustainable development. Mrs. Juve further emphasized the current decline in global multilateralism and urged African nations to strengthen social cohesion and uphold good governance to ensure continued progress on the continent.
And we know that Africa has a lot Our resources are part of our problems. But even how do we make sure that we transform Africa economically? Because if we build our economy through the society's social cohesion, leadership, and so on, we will be able maybe to make sure that we sustain the development of Africa.
By empowering women through transformative initiatives like Owlin and ensuring their work, Africa moves closer to a more inclusive and sustainable future. Osman Jatta, QTV News.
The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Gambia's Delicts Commissioner of Media Advocacy, Usman Seidiba, in an exclusive interview with QTV's Loliem Camara, disclosed that 36 Gambians and 2 Senegalese were arrested over drug-related offences within the last 2 weeks.
The operation, part of a coordinated nationwide crackdown, reflects what Commissioner Seidiba describes as a concerning rise in drug possession, trafficking and consumption. He gave details on these matters and on drug-related arrests in the Gambia.
The seizure statistics from the analysis that we do on a weekly basis shows that the seizure statistics fluctuate. There are some weeks that you will have more arrests, other weeks you will have less. And then also, if you look at the drugs, there are different types of drugs. Whilst we are seeing the entry of new types of drugs, what we call new psychoactive substances, NPS, there are also other drugs that are no longer in the market. So in essence, the seizure statistic shows a fluctuating trend.
According to Commissioner Usman Seidiba, these arrests were as the result of a combination of intelligence-led operations and coordinated patrols across hotspot regions. He expands on the seizures made during this period and what officers recovered.
The total quantities of drugs that are seized from all these operations, cannabis sativa, we seized more of cannabis sativa, about 190 bundles, 69 parcels and 67 wraps. So this in total is more than 180 kilograms of cannabis if you weigh it. Also, if you look at the hashes, the resin, 24 stones, 115 pieces of and 51 wraps of hashes, skunk cannabis, which is also another type of cannabis. As I said initially, that's the cannabis ruderalis, 1 medical plastic and 41 wraps. The kush, the cannabis indica, also 108 wraps. Ecstasy, 138 pills. The molly, which I talked about, it's also a very highly potent drug, about 29 wraps of it, and 14 pieces of crack cocaine.
In terms of legal action, the agency pursued 12 new charges relating to drug possession and trafficking of prohibited substances. 11 cases were successfully prosecuted, leading to multiple convictions, including for trafficking. Commissioner Seidiba again.
We secured conviction in 10 out of the 11, but there was one acquittal, and that acquittal was not a trafficking matter, but a possession matter.
Beyond arrests and the prosecutions, DLEAG is also focusing on prevention, and their drug demand reduction campaign is active across multiple platforms. Commissioner Seidiba expands on their prevention programs and gives details of the demographics they are targeting.
We are mostly targeting the youth, but notwithstanding, we also have programs and activities that are targeting children below the age of 12 or those below the youthful age, and at the same time parents. That's why most of our community sensitization programs target the parents, youth leaders, council of elders, regional authorities.
As the crackdown on illicit drugs intensifies, the dangers remain high, not just for law enforcement, but for communities across the Gambia. On a similar but different engagement, the Director General of the agency is currently on a nationwide tour accompanied by department heads and staff to assess and interact with staff and review critical matters that will enhance their operations and improve organizational excellence in their crusade against drug abuse, illicit and related drug trafficking, and related transnational organized crime. QTV News, Loliem Camara.
The Gambia Immigration Department, GID, has stepped up efforts against irregular migration, intercepting a significant number of migrants since the start of the year. Officials describe the ongoing operation as an unprecedented crackdown, with several successful prosecutions related to human trafficking and migrant smuggling. Here is an excerpt by Jordan Jai.
One good thing is we've also moved most administrative desks into the field. And that's why we have a good number of officers now in the field for enforcement, regular immigration enforcement. We also have on migration control, the belt of Bara, and then KM around Bakau, Sanyang to Katong is cordoned. From January to date, we have only one boat that arrived there, I don't know, Western Wall, let me call it that way. I don't want to be specific on a country. But more than 5,000 were intercepted. And we have prosecutions of more than 12 cases. Some are still pending on people that are just smuggling migrants. So if you look at that number, it's very big. January to date. And we visited Germany, we have seen a corresponding decline and no arrival in Germany as I speak, because no boat has left this source, only because you have immigration officers cordoned and deployed. And I specifically, the last intake of 250 personnel, they've cordoned the area. And of course, there are experts who also take care of these offices. This is happening. Alongside, we have the Gambia Commission for Refugees also on protection matters and giving social support. So quite a lot of interceptions were covered by the media themselves, and you could see how much numbers are there that when we get them. Our challenge on that side is that we don't have a reception center. And now we took a tour of the Commission for Refugees. We have seen room 1, room 2, room 3 for shelter in case you come to declare yourself as a refugee or running from any other situation that you need that protection from the Gambia, and we do. Right now, over 27 countries are recorded with us, with more than 2,500 individuals under the protection of the Gambia Commission of Refugees.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national, international, and sports news stories. Do stay tuned and join us after the break.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taaw place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal li fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saa añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal bara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taamu gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër bara wërga bii mooy warga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma maree ataaya moom rek lay naan.
Bank, we are more than banking. We build bridges that connect you to pivotal services every day. Do you have government bills to pay to the Gambia Revenue Authority, Comfort, KMC, or the Accountant General's Department? We've got you covered. From payment of customs and domestic taxes to GRA, payment of number plate and vehicle ownership transfer to Comfort, payment of property rates and business license fee to KMC, and payment of MR passport, business registration, fishing license, land fees, sale of assets, lease application, development permits, quarrying royalties, gravel and sand, mining royalties, and a host of other revenue lines to the Accountant General's Department. Walk into any of our branches nationwide and make your payments hassle-free. Either in person or online. Simple, secure, and immediate. With Ajib Bank, there is no need to worry about government bill payments for your vehicles, taxes, licenses, business registration, and any other revenue line. Ajib Bank, passionate about your investment. We've got you covered. Ajib Bank, your investment partner. Welcome back after that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the QTV News, and I'm Jacqueline Coley. Now, following the distribution of combined harvesters to rice farmers in the Central and Upper River regions by the Ministry of Agriculture with support from the World Bank-funded Giraffe Project. Officials conducted a 2-day site visit in the Central River region to assess the impact of the machines on farming activities. Our regional correspondent Bakari Balde joined the team and filed this report.
Rice farmers in the Central River region have hailed the combine harvesters as a game changer, citing their significant contribution to improving this year's rice production and productivity. The farmers say the machines have enhanced the technical efficiency of farming in the region by saving time and reducing post-harvest losses. Musa Dabo, CEO of Maro Farms in Pachar, Boubacar Bachili, CEO of Sahel Agribusiness in Birkamaba, and Mustafa Fati, CEO of Fati Agricultural Farms in Kerwan Sambasira, all shared their perspectives on the impact of the combined harvesters.
From the Giraffe Matching Grant, we were able to get 3 of our own combined harvesters, but there has always been pressure because of the area that we need to cover for services. Now that Giraffe now brought in 14 combined harvesters, that has relieved a lot.
This intervention of the Giraffe program, by them providing us with this equipment, which is the combined harvester as well as the transplanter, what it does, it makes life a lot easier. It brings down a whole lot of pricing down, the cost breakdown of cultivating rice all the way to mealing it or turning them into seeds.
The harvesters has come, transplanters has come, and even the land development also that the farmers are crying. Well, we have a hope that also is going to be attained.
Janko Ibrahim Maro, General Secretary of the Janjambure Age Mates Association, noted that both the Giraffe Matching Grant and the combined harvesters have had a significant impact on the community.
Combined harvester, it harvests, it traces, and it put it in the bag. So you see that one is easy. Everybody is, rushing towards that one. And then the production capacity also have increased because people are, definitely doing it at a rush. You can harvest and at the same time, plow your place again and put rice there again. And these varieties are only 3 months varieties.
Bakar Kujabi is the operations manager at the Maro Farms in Pachar.
Imagine having 10 hectares to be done. Before, it would take you a month. But now we are looking at those 10 hectares, 1 or 2 days, and it is done. That encourages people to come back to the land for farming.
Other beneficiaries we spoke to include Mariama Kamara, Kemejane, and Umar Jabi from the Giraffe Innovation Platform in Kuntawur. They revealed that within just 1 month, they were able to generate over $500,000 from the services provided by their combined harvesters. In some areas, farmers have the option to pay for combined harvester services either in cash or in kind. Farmers in the Central River region praise the government and the World Bank through the Giraffe project for making farming easier, less labor-intensive, and for helping to prevent post-harvest losses. Bakari Balde, QTV News.
Coming up next, we have international news. Speakers of Parliament from across the world, including the Deputy Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, Sidi S. Kenjai, gathered in Geneva, Switzerland from July 29 to 31st for the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament. The event brought together voices from around the globe to confront the rising challenges of conflict, inequality, and global instability. Yafa Tugay tells us more.
Held under the theme, A World in Turmoil, Parliamentary Cooperation and Multilateralism for Peace, Justice and Prosperity for All, the conference offered a space for reflection, collaboration and hope. With wars, political unrest and humanitarian crisis affecting millions, the event served as a critical platform for lawmakers to reaffirm their role in shaping a more peaceful and just world. An important event at this year's gathering was the 15th Summit of Women Speakers of Parliament. Here is Tolia Axon, President of the Interparliamentary Union.
Our purpose is not to come up with a new policy agenda, but to take stock of where we are as a parliamentary community and to boost parliamentary action in support of agreed commitments. From our speakers' chairs in each House of Parliament, we can do more than act as guarantors of parliamentary procedures.
For 3 days and across 5 separate sessions, participants shared perspectives, exchanged ideas, and negotiated practical steps to strengthen global cooperation. By the end of the conference, the speakers collectively adopted a declaration committing to deepen their engagement with the United Nations and to push for more effective multilateralism. The declaration emphasized the urgent need for parliamentarians to lead in addressing global transition from conflict prevention and climate action to social equality and inclusive development. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, addressed the conference, urging parliamentary leaders to support efforts promoting self-reliance, good health, and good governance.
As speakers of parliament, you have a key role to play in seizing this opportunity, mobilizing domestic resources, and facilitating the transition to sustainable self-reliance. It is in your hands.
The declaration highlighted the critical role of parliaments in leading global change, ranging from preventing conflict and tackling climate change to promoting social justice and inclusive growth. The event's guest speaker was award-winning Hollywood actor Michael Douglas, who is a UN Peace Ambassador. The Interparliamentary Union, founded in 1889, is the world's first multilateral political organization dedicated to fostering dialogue and cooperation among nations. Today, it brings together 181 national parliaments and 15 regional bodies, including that of the Gambia. The IPU works to strengthen parliaments, promote peace, democracy, and sustainable development, and advocate for human rights, especially those of parliamentarians, through a dedicated committee of global MPs. It also champions innovation, gender equality, youth inclusion, and environmental responsibility within parliamentary systems. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gay.
Also international news: to address worsening climate challenges, soil degradation and food insecurity, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, supported by international partners, has launched a comprehensive regional archaeology program to transform farming systems across the region, including the Gambia, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso and Liberia. Asidobai has the details.
Launched in 2018, the ECOWAS Agroecology Program is a major step toward building resilient, sustainable agricultural systems. It promotes agroecological practices and farming methods that work with nature rather than against it, such as crop diversification, composting, natural pest control, and agroforestry. The program is funded by the French Development Agency and partners, with technical support from the Permanent Interstates Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel. The project aims to strengthen farmer-led research and innovation, improve soil health and biodiversity, reduce reliance on chemical fertilizers and pesticides, support climate adaptation and mitigation, and empower women and youth in agriculture. Masanje Toure Litse is the Commissioner for Economic Affairs and Agriculture of the ECOWAS Commission.
This program, when ECOWAS implemented it, with the help of our technical and financial partners, I want to mention the French Development Agency and the European Union, it was to address the various challenges facing our agriculture.
Here is Alain C. Traore, Director of Agriculture and Rural Development of the ECOWAS Commission.
It should be recalled that at the outset there is the Regional Agricultural Policy of ECOWAS, ECOWAP. And the main goal of this ECOWAP is to work towards modernizing family farms within our community state. So we need to provide family farms in our regional area with good agricultural practices that allow them to cultivate their land sustainably and pass on their land ownership to future generations.
Kabram Boadi is the head of OPA Ivory Coast project.
Now, the challenge that remains for us is to scale up in order to truly trigger a real transformation of agroecological farms as vision. We need to find a strategy to add value to agroecological products in our area, in local markets and in urban markets.
in order to ensure that farmers earn an income from these agroecological farms.
In the Gambia, agroecology is especially relevant due to the increasing soil infertility and climate vulnerabilities. Through programs like the World Bank funded Gambia and West Africa, GIRAF, Gambia Inclusive and Resilient Agricultural Value Chain Development Project, and the Economic Community of West African State Agricultural Policy, ECOWAP, Gambian farmers are being trained in composting, water conservation, intercropping, and using local seeds. The ECOWAS agroecology program is more than just a farming initiative. It is a move towards ecological justice, food sovereignty, and climate resilience in West Africa. By supporting traditional knowledge and regenerative practices, the project offers a sustainable path forward for farmers in the Gambia and beyond. As climate threats grow, agroecology is planting the seeds for a greener, more secure future for all of West Africa. Aisa Tubari, QTV News.
That's all we have time for, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. On Friday, Binta Job, the special envoy of the chairperson of the African Union Commission on Women, Peace and Security, praised the Gambia's commitment to global gender equality, peace and security after being received by President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul. Over 4,900 migrants were intercepted by the Gambia Immigration Department since the start of the year in an unprecedented crackdown. The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Gambia's Commissioner of Media Advocacy, Usman Seidiba, in an exclusive interview with QTV disclosed that 36 Gambians and 2 Senegalese were arrested with drugs within the last 2 weeks. Following the distribution of combined harvesters to rice farmers under the Ministry of Agriculture and World Bank-funded Giraffe project, officials visited the Central River region for 2 days to assess the equipment's impact on local farming activities. In international news, speakers of parliament from across the world, including the Deputy Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, CDS Kenjai, gathered in Switzerland from July 29 to 31st for the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament. That's all for this news bulletin. Join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the weekend review with Momadou Mbouch and Adeta Rame. And Namanji Sonko also with the sign language interpretation. Thanks for watching. Bye.